Yeah, speaking of around the world, if we brought it back home and we talked about our own safety and security, our border has been one of the biggest topics for every American, not just Democrats or Republicans, not just Texans, but also people in the north, also people in New York City who have had a flood of migrants. And now we're learning that Joe Biden, who once embraced Eric Adams, well, the two of them aren't really getting along anymore.
Yeah, that's right. There was a Politico article titled almost exactly that. Joe Biden once embraced Eric Adams, don't expect that anytime soon. And listen to how they characterize their relationship. They call it icy. The icy relationship emerging amid Adams' criticism of the president's handling of the migrant crisis has evolved into a deep freeze, with the New York mayor now embroiled in a federal investigation over whether his campaign colluded with foreign interests. But this absolutely has to do with the fact that Eric Adams is speaking out about border issues. When President Biden was in New York City, Mayor Eric Adams requested a meeting with him, and that meeting was denied.
Yeah, just so you know, by the way, it should be Eric Adams should be mad at the president. It should not vice versa, because
Totally.
This president's irresponsible way of not handling the border issues has caused the sanctuary city in New York, which should never be, and the right to shelter, which should never be in place, has been overwhelmed with over 130,000. It's estimated 85,000 are still here. They're coming at 2,000 a week. And this is a little bit what's happening outside the hotels, where they're staying for free, getting 3 meals a day, getting their laundry done, and getting their sheets changed, all at our expense, to the point you got to cut back. They have chosen to cut back cops, cut down library hours, cut back FDNY, cut back educational services, because we're doing all this for free because of President Biden's irresponsible lack of border policy, and it's destroying the city that one of his greatest supporters runs. Why is he mad at Eric Adams for speaking up, and saying what everybody knows? He should actually be more direct.
Yeah, you know, this goes back to what we talked about in the beginning of the show, about this idea that Biden's administration puts out these talking points for Thanksgiving that says Trump didn't shut down the border. Trump didn't make the border any better. All he did was put families in cages. I don't remember a couple of years ago New York being at odds with anyone with any of the leading Democrats over what should be done about the border. But here we are with a Democratic mayor in New York and a Democratic president in the White House, and for some reason they can't get on the same page. So if it's all about ideology and all about how bad Trump was, then why do we have this problem in New York right now?
I do not know how you sleep at night if you're President Biden or Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas with a wide open border during a heightened terror alert because of what's going on in Israel with Hamas, and knowing that you can change it. Politics comes into play here big time. But if you're the president of the United States, national security is your top priority.
Right. And by the way, people say, why is Donald Trump winning? Why is Donald Trump winning? Because the issues he ran on in 2016 are even more apropos today. We saw the way he handled it compared to the way President Biden's handling it. And a lot of independents, a lot of undecideds are saying, I like the old way. And maybe we should have pushed judges to do what Trump wanted. That's get rid of the sanctuary city status, declared unconstitutional.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.